Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into this incredibly beautiful, heartwarming little narrative about an old watchmaker. It's a short story, but man, does it pack a massive emotional punch. We're going to unpack exactly how we truly measure the worth of the things around us, and I think you're going to love it.
So let's just jump right in with a question that really sets the stage for everything we're about to talk about. Can you actually put a monetary price tag on a cherished memory? I know, it's a pretty heavy question right out of the gate, but do me a favor and just keep that in the back of your mind. It is literally the central puzzle this whole story forces us to evaluate.
All right, so our story kicks off with an old watchmaker living in this tiny little shop right at the very end of a quiet street. Every single morning, folks would bring their broken timepieces. Now picture this. Some of these watches were incredibly expensive, these diamond-encrusted family heirlooms. And then others, they were just cheap plastic everyday items. But here is the kicker. He repaired every single broken watch brought to him with the exact same level of care, completely regardless of its monetary value. To him, the delicate little mechanism inside mattered way more than whatever fancy brand name was stamped on the outside.
Then, one afternoon, his steady, quiet routine gets totally broken. A young boy walks into the tiny shop holding on to this old pocket watch. We come to find out that this watch belonged to his late grandfather. And listen, it wasn't some shiny, new, expensive piece of jewelry. No, it was an old, battered relic. But it carried this rich, deeply personal history. You can almost picture the kid holding it, right? Holding it like it's the absolute most fragile thing in the world.
See, other shops had actually turned the boy away. They looked at it and saw a worthless piece of junk that just wasn't worth their time. But in this totally desperate plea, the boy looks at the old man and says, "Everyone says it's too old to fix, but can you try?" I mean, it's just a genuine plea right from the heart. And the old man, he simply responds with a reassuring smile and gently takes the watch into his hands.
So, the watchmaker gets to work on his methodical restoration process. And like we just saw, it starts with that reassuring smile, which immediately gives some comfort to this anxious kid. Then he spends the entire day carefully cleaning every single tiny gear. Hour after hour, he's just working in complete, focused silence. This wasn't a quick fix. It was a real, painstaking labor of dedication. Finally, the moment of truth arrives, and he gently turns the small winding key.
As he turns that key, for a brief, incredibly heavy second, there is absolute silence. Literally nothing happened. It's that agonizing beat, the kind where the boy's hope is just completely hanging in the balance, terrified that the piece is truly beyond repair.
But then, suddenly, all that suspense breaks. The pocket watch miraculously springs right back to life. Tick, tick, tick. It's just a small, rhythmic sound, sure, but in the quiet atmosphere of that tiny shop, that sound represents an absolute triumph. The heartbeat of the watch had returned.
The boy's eyes immediately fill with tears. He throws his arms around the old watchmaker and whispers, "Thank you. Now it feels like my grandfather's with me again." He wasn't just handed back a functioning piece of metal, right? He was handed back a tangible, real connection to someone he loved deeply.
Right after this incredibly beautiful moment, the old man gives another kind smile, but he flatly refuses to take a single penny for his full day of silent, painstaking labor. I really want you to think about that for a second. He spent hours of highly technical, totally focused work on this one single item, and he just turns away any financial compensation whatsoever.
Well, as the boy is leaving the shop, there's another customer who had been standing there witnessing this whole exchange. And this customer asks the exact question we are all probably thinking right now. Why did you spend an entire day fixing an old watch for free?
The old man just looks at the tiny watch, still in his hand, and he quietly delivers this absolutely profound revelation. He says, "I wasn't repairing a watch. I was repairing a memory." Wow. I mean, that completely redefines the entire nature of his work, doesn't it?
Repairing a watch versus repairing a memory. Decades later, long after the old watchmaker had passed away, people remembered his little shop. But they didn't remember it because of his mechanical repairs. No, they remembered him because he inherently understood that sentimental value far outweighs material wealth. He recognized that these objects, they're really just vessels for the human experiences attached to them.
He tapped into a profound truth here. Sometimes, the absolute smallest act of selfless kindness is the very thing that sustains a person's most joyous memories. By freely giving his time and his effort, he made absolutely sure that a young boy could hold on to a precious piece of his grandfather's spirit.
Which brings us to the lasting moral of this whole explainer. People may forget what you gave them, but they will never forget how you made them feel. It's an incredibly uplifting reminder about the enduring power of empathy and genuine human connection. The physical watch itself might eventually stop ticking again down the road, but the compassion that boy felt that day, that is going to last a lifetime.
So, I want to leave you with one final thought to reflect on as you go about the rest of your day today. How will you make someone feel today? I'm challenging you to really think about the lasting memories you're helping to create for the people around you, whether that's through your work, giving your time, or just a simple, everyday act of kindness. Thanks so much for exploring this beautiful story with me today.